This is Local Matters on CBS 17 News at 4.
In-person early voting starts in a week, and on the ballot are 14 GOP candidates for the 13th Congressional District, which includes a part of Wake County as well as Johnston, Harnett, and Franklin.
CBS 17's Russ Bowen is here now with us, and you had a chance to sit down and talk with Josh McConkey, who was running for that seat as well.
Yeah, and his name may already be familiar as a recent lottery winner as well. Josh McConkey lives in Apex. He's an emergency room physician and a colonel in the U.S. Air Force Reserve. First of all, congratulations on the lottery win. What's the story behind that?
Thank you, Russ. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. So it's still sinking in. As a kid who was raised in a rural small town like western Nebraska, we have more cows than people where I grew up. My dad was a railroader. My grandfather was a railroader. My great-grandfather was a railroader. And I was the first McConkey to go to college. So to have this type of windfall and that amount of money is mind-boggling. I don't think it's really set in yet. It allows us to get our message out to the people in North Carolina when you talk about security, safety, and service, all those things that I do in the emergency department every day.
You got a very crowded ballot of 14 people in the GOP primary. You have to reach 30% plus one vote on that day. Do you think you can reach that threshold? And if so, how are you going to separate yourself from the other candidates?
Yeah, getting 30% plus one is the goal, and that's how we're running with things. We're very active, talking with lots of voters, engaging, phone calls, personal letters that I'm writing myself. We'll see if it's enough.
One of the things that you just brought up, the opioid epidemic, and you've been very upfront about this in your campaign and even prior to that on social media. Mm-hmm. You blame part of that problem on security at the border or lack of it, right? We thought we had a bipartisan agreement in the U.S. Senate. Mm-hmm. Didn't happen, fell apart. On the House side, it looked like Secretary Mayorkas might be impeached. Yeah. That fell apart because the party couldn't get on the same page, even if it's just a few votes.
I think what you see in Washington, D.C. a lot of times is lack of leadership. Having someone that's had a background in the emergency departments in the trenches for 22 years dealing with these and having real-life stories. When you have to walk into a room and you tell parents that their son or daughter have died, you have to look them in the eye and you sit down and you cry with that family. It becomes much more personal for you. And so with that type of leadership, with 22 years of military service as a military commander, someone that can relate to people and bring that leadership to Washington, we'll bring that together. We'll have to get this done. I think we're seeing a lack of that right now.
Within that package was also aid to Ukraine, aid to Israel, and also help for Taiwan.
And trying to hold, these other Republican side of things, try to hold them hostage by entering bills like that. Those are separate issues. I don't think those need to be tied to a border security bill like that. If they would vote on things like this individually, it's no different than what they've done with the omnibus budget bills that they've been doing for over a decade now.
So just for the record, aid to Ukraine, you support it?
I think there has to be better accounting on that money. It's a tremendous amount of money. I've got so many stories from my time in Iraq. Seeing money just wastefully spent.
For the record, aid to Israel as well?
Yeah, I support Israel completely and without equivocation.
For the record, humanitarian aid for Palestinians?
That's more of a difficult subject. I mean, there's so many problems. You saw what happened recently where there were part of the UN security force that was bringing aid had taken part in those attacks. Until that gets sorted out, I don't support any money going over.
Bottom line, what are the top three things that need to be priority for the president, the current president of the United States, as well as Congress to control what's happening?
Yeah, so number one, you have to secure the border.
How?
So you start off with increasing funding to border security. You leverage technology, drone technology, monitoring technology, those types of things, and then actually physical barriers. They work. When you see what Texas has done right now, building sections of wall, putting that razor wire down, that physically will stop people from coming. I think the amount of people that have come through Eagle Pass in Texas since they've instituted just like the physical barriers has ratcheted down significantly. So between those three action items right there, you can secure this border.
You bring up the razor wire, which is, we can go down a long rabbit hole if we want to, but the courts have said, no, it's got to come down. You've shown support for that. You just mentioned you do support the razor wire being there. Governor Abbott has said we are going to defy what the courts are saying. Is that a dangerous road to go down, though, when you start saying we don't care what the Supreme Court is saying?
Texas has every right to secure their border.
Is it a dangerous precedent, though, to set, to deny what the Supreme Court says?
I think the dangerous precedent that's been set by this administration to not secure that border, to allow 3.2 million illegal immigrants in, to have 120,000 people a year dying from just illicit fentanyl alone. I've practiced medicine for 20 years. It's now the #1 leading cause of death. Death is just fentanyl alone. In ages 18 to 45 in Americans, that's the #1 killer. Until you address that, I think the states have to do what they have to. I mean, they have to do that. Biden's not doing it.
And a reminder, the 13th district is one of those districts that was redrawn to heavily favor Republicans. That's why incumbent Democrat Wiley Nickel is not running again. So it's safe to predict that the person who does win this primary or runoff, if it's needed, will be headed to Washington. And of course, guys, I've reached out to a number of people on that ballot. We hope to hear from them soon as well.
Yeah, you have 14, so you're one down, right?
That's right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.